Face. You are listening to the golden microphones of the IMC Radio. News, opinions, and your calls.
Yes, you are. I promise we'll be taking calls soon.
You gotta see that big picture.
Sometimes if you stop the machine, then you realize, whoa.
You have to have some foresight and think about what kind
Don't
of
stop
effect
the
is that
machine,
gonna have
baby.
on air
Start
travel.
sweating.
How important is aviation?
When the fan stops blowing. How important is aviation to you? Hey, guys. Welcome back to Golden Microphones of the IMC VMC Club Radio, whatever we want to call it nowadays. Yeah, it's a blast from the past. Howie Marlin here, a.k.a. Max Gross, with you one more time. Yeah, I recorded this whole episode a little while ago, only to find out there was a major glitch. Yeah, so much for major glitches. Anyway, hi everybody. First thing I want to do is apologize big time, y'all, for dropping off the radar. And life got in the way, guys. I got to say that it's been a little bit fricked up. Let's say, I don't know, nose surgery. Of course, you know about the wheel falling off the plane. Yeah, that was a trip. Studied for and then got a new license. Got a new job with the hospital on the substance use disorder team. Big changes at the old place that I used to work, so I'm no longer there. We had a little other things went on which pale in comparison to some of the tragedies which have been going on around our country. First, I want to just share my heartbreak over Puerto Rico. And it just I don't know where to start, so I probably just will leave it at that. And down the Gulf Coast, you guys getting hammered the way you do Texas, please. And oh my God, California hills. Oh my God, I don't know where to start there either, except to say that I pray for your general well-being and recovery and. The fires out there. And finally today is, what is today, like the 18th? Or I'm losing count now, 19th. That October 19th. And the rains have finally started, so it's been helping. But, life goes on, as awkward and difficult as it may be. So, hey there, guys. It's nice to be back. Radek Vizikowski has been one insanely busy fella. He's had life stresses to deal with as well, but the IMC VMC program is, careful what you ask for, right? Holy cow. I mean, this guy, unbelievable how it's grown, and he's being tugged in a million directions, and it's all good. The popularity of the organization is growing, and it's just the timing may just have been perfect for the VMC club to work its way in. So I'm really happy for him, happy for the EAA, and happy for you guys. So there. He'll be on next week. We will. He promised to make himself available, and we'll catch up on Radek Vizikowski and see what's going on in the world there. In the meantime, a couple of fun. Interesting things here. This little island, Martha's Vineyard. Well, it's October and all the summer folks are gone, which means when you go to the tarmac of the big airport, there's only like 3 aircraft sitting there. Okay, 6 on the weekend, but a little more when it's warmer. But my point is midweek, nada. So it's back to me alone and my buddy, my cohort, my pal in the plane, Joe Harper. And we've been going up and burning holes in the sky. The guy's starting to land, and I got to say, he's coming along. There's nothing that beats consistency in the air, proficiency. The whole idea of putting yourself into these situations, getting the checklists tattooed into your brain, making sure that you have them in hand, so you never miss anything, even when you get interrupted. So that things like wheels don't fall off. By the way, it's funny. Radek uses that story with the opening of a lot of the clubs. He paints the picture. He doesn't call me out on it. He refers to Block Island, and the fact is, when you do your pre-flight, how many of you guys have taken the pants off or the boots off your plane to look at the brakes and the hoses? I mean, how often do you do it? Do you do it every time? No. Who does? I mean, seriously. I got a guy with a younger Archer next to me. He ain't taking them damn boots off except for the annual. I mean, that ain't happening. You got the little door to get to, the air in the tire. That's about as much as he's looking. So don't tell me that you're going to be eyeballing that castellated nut and looking for the carter pin and yada, yada, flipping yada, because nope. Our plane, though, pants are off. The boots are off, and you can see it all. And when we, going through the whole thing and looking at the wheel, looking at the tread, looking at the brake, the beef in the brake, and the hose, how the condition. And it's not that you would normally look at that castellated nut for the carter pin, but you're staring at it. So, we do it every time. We look for the throw on the strut, right? And you're looking at that entire area. So if there was something amiss, you would see it. But anyway, I digress. Joe and I we've been doing some practices, Katama Airfield. Although I can't seem to find the NOTAM, I'm told there is a NOTAM, that it's only being used for local residents, that there's seating, that 3-1 is closed. There's big X's. I got that. But we put it down on a couple of runways the other day and sort of shooed away, which is very understandable. It's a real popular airfield in the summer, and reseating is a big deal, and fixing the holes. I get that. So there's another grass field on the island called Trade Winds. Yes, Trade Winds. And what's interesting about Trade Winds is that up until this year, you needed permission to fly in. That would be MA44, Mike Alpha 44, Trade Wind Airport in Oak Bluffs. It's got a major 246 runway of 2,200 feet. So it's rocking. I mean, it's got plenty. But over the years, because it was private and nobody could really land there very often, people were taking their dogs to use it as a dog walk. Yeah, and it became the most popular dog walk place in the community. And now, you go there at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, there's millions of dogs and people running around. And Joe and I were doing pattern work and had him do, some full stops. Oh, boy, did we get some angry looks. And, yes, some dogs running, so we floored it and got out of Dodge. I'm sure that the people looking up my tail number and going, yay, yeah, it's me. All right. Yeah. All right. So, anyway, that'll be interesting to see what's going on there. But it's open to the public now. You do not need to get permission anymore. And it's out of the line of the ILS for the Big Island 2-4. So what is it, BPay, or I forget the fix. There's a fix just to the southeast. So for ILS and Instrument, not that you would be doing it at Instrument, and it approaches there at Tradewind, but all the other traffic is high and to your south. So it's not a worry. So please do. Father Nagel, who's been the caretaker of that place, has been trying to get people to land in there a lot more frequently. Yep. And the Recreational Air Force, the RAF, they've flown in there a couple of times. So they get all their the big high wing balloony tires in there. Don't need it. The field's in pretty darn good shape, actually. It's a little bumpy, but I've been in a lot worse. So no problem there. So anyway, that's what happened the other day, and I've got for you today a hangout audio recording over at and my friends over at Cranland. This is a short strip northwest of. Now I'm sorry, I'm distracted. Just south of Boston and northwest of Plymouth, Massachusetts, and it's awesome. The guys have a real it's a be-in. It's a peace, love, and communal living kind of cool place where they've got a really nice breakfast kitchen workshop facility where they have their meetings, and they're building a Sonics, I believe. And there's one main hangar, and there's like 5 or 6 aircraft in there. There's a Pitts and a Cessna and a kit built. There's a Cub. Really, it's amazing. These guys are just awesome. And they hang out with the beach chairs, just watching people come by and visit. There's a jump for hire, tandem jump, not a school, but a tandem jump business. So it's very entertaining. So we hang out there. So I decided to just, just talk and hang with, I had my friend, virtual pilot Lizzie, who's a trauma nurse, with me at the ER at the hospital, and she's just flipping awesome. She's very good. She has natural abilities, and I think she'll do really well. So she was hanging out with us, and we were just chewing the cud, having fun. So I'm going to have you guys listen to this, and we'll be doing normal podcasts every 2 weeks. Hopefully, we'll start again as of next week, and keep you guys informed into what's going on with the clubs around town. And please do continue to send me your stories and interests. Send it to hm4499@gmail.com. That's Hotel Mike 4499@gmail.com. Let me know where you are, what you think of the podcast, what you like, what you don't like, and stuff I'll ignore like that. And we'll just, we'll see if we can get some of you guys on the phone on Skype. So here's the interview, and I'll be back for a quick goodbye in a bit, but it's like 40 minutes of this. So see you later. Hey, well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's, what is it? My Lord, it's August 6th, and I'm here at Cranland. I just sort of dropped in on these guys, and I promised that I'd be doing these podcasts as the year went by, but, of course, my landing gear went south, and with that went my flying for a while. But a lovely bunch of coconuts sitting here in the beach chairs, looking out the hangar door. What do you guys do for fun? There's nothing going on.
Chase women.
Ah, there. Where are they? Oh, there's. Uh-oh.
I chase one, mostly.
Howie Marlin, a.k.a. Max Gross, here with you this afternoon on this beautiful August day. And I know it's been kind of hard. It's been kind of hard doing these podcasts with my plane laid up. And we'll get past that. But we were just talking about Katama and the fact that Osiris made friends with some geese.
Geese?
You don't know how it went down, do you?
No, not at all.
Broke the tail off. I know that. I saw it.
Yep, did a ground loop. And, the guy hit 2 geese is what happened. You know them big-ass Canadian geese?
I didn't see any feathers anywhere.
You didn't see any feathers, I know. Were you there?
No.
No, I got pictures of it. I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, the poor guy. I mean, there's a big-ass flock of geese that call the place home. And if anybody tells you that I told you, they'll call me a liar, but we try to get rid of them. But the thing is, they make a home there. There's about 30 of them. So when you're going in and out of Katama, there's these little sacks of stuff in your way. And every once in a while, you got to do this really, acrobatic maneuver to get out of it. Yeah, so the guy hit one, and then he hit another one. And it made him get back down, and he ground looped and broke the tail off. And it's really fascinating when you look at the aircraft because you see how the carbon fiber.
Where did he hit? Where did the goose hit the plane? Like, I don't understand how the Canadian goose made him come out of the sky.
Nailed one on the lead edge.
I don't know the details. I really don't. Well, I'm hoping that somebody who's listening to this will send me the details. But he was 400 feet, and he was able to make it back, and he got out. So, I mean, that's really, I don't know any more details. I'll say.
Except for the insurance company, it wasn't. But
well, that's their job to pay us.
Do you know where the Cirrus was based out of?
I'm sorry. No, I don't. I have no idea.
Oh, all right.
Where, Jersey?
Think Jersey? Well, you see, there's your problem. He was from Jersey. I'm from Jersey. What can I say? But yeah, it was kind of weird. Katama's been pretty busy, and it's interesting because we always have to dodge them. Do you have a lot of birds around here?
We've got one of those special permits that allows us to get rid of them. So, which is controversial around here. Some people don't want to kill them, and I'm not for killing anything anymore. But you know, if you got to get rid of them, you got to get rid of them. And we just did this week. We got rid of a couple of geese this week.
It's the new white meat.
I haven't tried it yet, but I mean, as long as there's $6 steaks at Shaw's, I don't need to eat the geese.
It tastes like chicken.
I take your word for it.
No, of course, they're gamey. It's all dark meat. And, you know, plenty of people eat them. It's just, you know, if you use buckshot, you got to just, you know, make sure you don't bite too hard and make sure fillings don't fall out. So is this like the normal crowd?
Usual suspects for the most part. You should have been here this morning, Howie. It was classic tail dragger flying this morning. We had a funk. We had 2 cubs. We had the 90-horse champ. We had.
No, wait. I hear you just rebuilt this champ.
Well, we put it back together after it was. It's been apart for a long time. It was a insurance salvage airplane, and then a friend of ours bought it and started to restore it, but he died of melanoma, so I bought it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was a good guy, Joe Craig, and.
Well, here's a nod to Joe, and thank you very much. And the guys this morning, all tail draggers?
Just about. We had a lot of tail draggers. We had a 140, a 170, two cubs, 1 Citabria, 1 champ, the funk. The bird dog wasn't with us, but there was an L19 amongst the pack. And who am I missing? No. I mean with us, just with us. So there's 8 tail draggers just with us, plus the tin cans. We had a couple of Cherokees and 172s. RV4.
Wow, that's like a dozen airplanes.
Oh yeah, that's the usual for the breakfast run.
Well, this is a great place. I mean, the guys have been, you know, wonderful, and they invited me here, and I was making all sorts of plans to come out on Sundays, and I redid my schedule, so I had Sundays off. Well, of course, as fate would have it, my schedules got rebuilt, and the ownership of the crisis team got reorganized, and now I work weekends. So I'm sort of cheating here. But that's awesome. You guys, every Sunday, you guys go to a different place for breakfast, right?
Not a different place. I mean, sometimes we do, but the usual places are the Vineyard, Plymouth, Southbridge, Fitchburg, Nantucket once in a while. But we want to be home by 11.
That's really cool, and I just it's just funny that when I first met these guys, I'm sitting in my kitchen listening to the live ATC, and I'm listening to the traffic at the Vineyard, and this tower operator is sleepy Sunday. Nothing's going on. All of a sudden, a little pop here, then another guy, then 2 guys in tandem, then another, then a string, and then all of a sudden somebody goes, "Hey, you have your own damn air show up here," and it was you guys, and so I hightailed it down there because I thought that was just a hoot.
Al Gore's real happy with us.
Oh, Al Gore.
Big carbon footprint. Big carbon footprint.
Yeah, well, you know, don't forget Al flies around in his own plane too, so, you know, what can I tell you?
We're not being efficient if we've got more than 1 person in each airplane.
Right.
Well, you can fix that. You know, you can have the volunteers. So there's a flock of kids, there's our next generation over there, including you. You're among them. So do all you guys got your pilot's license? No. Just you? Just Max? How many hours you guys have?
Not much cheaper.
0.
He's a Mass Maritime. These 2 guys. He's a Mass Maritime senior. He's a Mass Maritime sophomore. He's going into 9th grade, Doc. So.
Oh, awesome. Well, it's a great time to start, and it's awesome that you're hanging out here.
Doc's ready to solo, but he's only 14, so we might have to use country rules for him. I'm not sure.
Country rules and wooden blocks on the pedals.
Oh, he's good. He's all set. Little cushion underneath his back, under his butt, and little one on his back. But he's got the champ just fine.
Well, if you turn the engine off, is that a glider?
You know what? I never thought of that.
And if it's a glider, how old can you be to get your...
14 to solo a glider.
Oh!
Absolutely.
Yo, Doc.
Doc, we might get you in a glider.
Hey, what do you call an airplane when you turn the engine off? A glider. There you go. Well, hey, and you do have powered gliders, too. We got a Grobe on the field at Katama, and there's a fellow who's flying that, I think, Bob Stone. Hey, Bob. Bob, I think he turned 185 today or something. And he does, I don't need no stinking medical. It's a glider. It is.
Powered glider is still a glider, huh? A motor glider is still a glider. I didn't know that.
It's a.
So does his prop feather or does it fold behind him?
The Grobe stays. It feathers. His feathers. I know. Now, did you go to Sun and Fun this year?
Yes, we haven't missed a Sun and Fun in 20 years.
Yeah, I screamed in and out of there a few times. I made mention that we were going to be there, but we weren't able to hook up. But that's awesome. How many years?
20.
That's a lot of wasted time.
Yeah, it is. Mike DuPont got us into. I mean, I don't think he's missed one. And how long's Mike been going to Sun and Fun? 30. It took him like 5 years to get me to convinced to go. But
Sun and Fun. For those of us who have been to these big air shows, it's an entirely different feeling. I mean, it's really community. It's smaller. Oshkosh takes days. Sun and Fun, 2 days? You think?
We do 3, but 2 days would be enough if you wanted to. 3. We do 2 or 3? Yeah, we do 3 full days.
Oh, that's great. I mean, 3 days I think would be perfect. Hey, guys, come on in.
How many years you been to Sun and Fun now?
This is my 4th year at Sun and Fun. Yeah, I'm not.
That's Mad Max, by the way, you guys.
Yeah.
Derek Nadell over there.
Derek.
How's it going?
Hey, Doc.
Guest today.
Yeah,
We
come
got
here, sit.
Doc, but his closest friends call him the doctor.
Come on in, Doctor.
So, Doc, you know what? Howie's looking for pilot report on the 46 Champ with the 90 horse with the electrical system that we just finished. What can you tell him about it? What's its characteristics? How do
Come
you,
on, weasel on up here, pal. Don't be afraid. This thing won't bite you.
How do you compare the Champ to the Cub?
Just smile at it. He's just saying.
Got quite a bit of Cub time.
The Champ definitely cruises quicker than the Cub. Champ gets out pretty quick, close to the Cub.
Cub gets out a little better.
Yeah.
And which one's more responsive?
I'd say the Champ.
Really?
Probably.
Yeah, it might be because the Champ's got a small, shorter wingspan. But I don't know. It's tough to beat the Cub as far as loitering and slow, and it's got a bigger wing.
Yeah, I was all gung ho, and I got my tail, and a friend of mine had a Cub, and he was like, "Oh, get your tail, and I'll let you fly the Cub." So I was, "Oh, great!" And then as soon as I got the tail, he went back to Florida. So I haven't been, but hopefully I'll be able to come back out here and beat you guys up and get a little rear seat time or front seat time. Which one?
The Champ.
Oh, there you go.
But what do you think about the brakes in the Champ compared to the Cub, Doc?
I definitely like the brakes in the Cub a lot better.
Because why? What's the difference between the two?
I think the Cubs are more comfortable, definitely.
Oh, you mean placement of the pedals?
Yeah, but the brakes in the Cub definitely work better.
Why?
Are they both disc or drum or different, hydraulic or pneumatic or?
The Champ is mechanical.
Mechanical drum.
Mechanical drum, yeah.
And we converted the brakes on the Cubs. All the Cubs have disc Cleveland conversions. So.
Well, that makes stopping
fast.
effective.
Yeah, they're really, really effective.
You heard my brand new brakes screeching, didn't you? When I came down?
I wasn't here when you landed.
That's right. Max was
I saw you
smiling.
Final, though. Why? What was going on with the brakes?
No, I came in a little hot, and I landed pretty long.
Well,
and
you're used to the Vineyard, which is like Logan, right? I mean, around
yeah,
here,
109 million feet.
Yeah, 8 billion miles. We got, 1,800 here?
Well, that's more than ample, but what got me was in the breeze coming around. And I love my short field, and it's funny because I got anxious. And I really don't understand why, but it was nothing to it. And there's
all that fancy stuff hanging off your plane.
I know.
Stole stuff?
All that extra stuff hanging down the gear?
Well, no, you got the fences and the whatever. What do you got on that thing? What is that stuff?
It's a Horton stall kit. So I got a leading edge, I got a cuff going down, and the cuff has an indent on the underside, so it creates this negative pressure. You've got these gates, you can see the upper ones. They act like the finlets on the end of the aircraft that you see now, the jets and such. And then on the bottom of the wing underneath, the same thing, these little fins which catch the air and help for greater control at lower speed. And that's
See the jumpers.
here comes the jumper. You got a tandem.
We've only seen one problem. As long as we've seen all these jumpers jumping, we've only seen one woman break her ankle.
In how long?
I don't know, 4 years anyway, maybe 5 years, 4 years.
Well, that guy was pretty darn good. I mean, the fellow who went out there to secure the canopy only had to jog about 10 feet. I mean, the guy was pretty spot on.
They land on their feet more often than not. I mean, they don't even get a grass stain. I mean, they plop right on their feet.
They got a stiff headwind too that's helping them out.
Oh, yeah. No, they got a nice, it's like blowing in the teens. Oh, here comes another one, green and purple.
Look at him. He's just hovering.
That was pretty hovery. That's right.
He's going to land. He isn't even going to touch his butt on the ground.
He's coming towards us. He's got maybe 50, 60 feet away. And boom, look at that. They're all standing up. And he's getting the kite down on the ground so that it doesn't pull him into the flames.
Cheated death again.
Look at that. Got a high five, a hug. Now they're going to get married. That's the way it goes. No, that's awesome. There's, obviously they've got a jump program going on here at Cranland, which is really nice. It's funny, I was looking at the tetrahedral trying to figure out if it was telling me the truth or not. It's a lion bastard.
Yeah, no, we usually look at the little jump flag, but that doesn't work that great.
I think that's the only wind tetrahedron in the state, actually. I really do. A little Cranland trivia.
Well, that's interesting because now it did migrate into the wind. So it was funny because I made my final to base. I'm looking at one and looking at the other, and I just let the plane kite into the wind. It tells me which way the wind is blowing. So
it generally works. That in light breeze, it's a little we might have to grease it up a little bit, but it generally works when you have a stiff wind like this today.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's definitely swiveling around with the wind, following the sock around.
The wind tee? It's been here as long as I've been here, and I've been here over 20 years. My guess is it's 30 years old anyway, maybe longer. This airport's been here since the 60s, at least, early 60s, when it was a spray, they used it for spraying. Clarkey used to run it way back when, helicopters and...
Oh, you just sparked a memory. I grew up in Jersey, and at the Asbury Park Airport, which is no longer, I used to hang in there and watching these guys, watching these sprayers come in, and because we got all these sod farms, lots of farms all around where I live, and I'd long forgotten about that. What did they have? Somebody came in. Now I know what it is with an AN, one of the Russian.
AN2.
It was the biggest monster I've ever seen in my life. I remember as a kid, it had this monster engine, and we were climbing all over it, and they used it for crop dust. The biplane, that Russian thing.
Because I don't think you can use those. I don't think we can't use those. Those are only exhibition, and unless it's a recent development, but you can't use an AN2. As cool as they are, 1,000 horsepower. Inertial starter, but I don't think
you don't fire the shotgun shell into it?
No, it's not a shotgun start. It's it's like the old World War II,
That's definitely cool.
It's not like it's Little Brothers that use the pneumatic starting. All the Sukhois and those MP-14 radials, they shoot air into the cylinders in sequence and get them going that way. The AN2 is inertial.
Those are wild. I flew a Yak, and it was all pneumatic.
52? Yak 52?
I can't remember. It was a Chinese one.
Oh, a Yin Yang. What the heck?
Yin Yang.
Yeah. Pneumatic everything. Brakes, flaps, starting, everything.
Yeah, that was fantastic. And he pissed off Criedo over Katema because he did a flyby. He did a flyover. And I got my iPhone going backwards, and as he did the flyover, I'm looking at him going, oh, my God, kicking up all this dust and all the grass. We were low. I swear to God, the prop lost about an inch in length. I mean, I have no way of knowing, but that guy was pretty crazy.
I never flew a Nangchang, but I've flown the Yak, the Russian version, the Yak 52. But those are interesting planes. They're the
remind me, tell everyone, who the hell are you? We've been talking for an hour and nobody knows. Racer X, ladies and gentlemen.
Racer X.
Racer X here out of Nashua, New Hampshire. And no, that's awesome. So you never flew. What were you talking about? You never
flew a Nangchang, but I flew its Russian cousin, the Yak 52s.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
my experience in the yak, I meet this guy, Katema. He's a long-haired DEA guy from North Carolina. And I'm just yakking with him and And, yep. And I was just saying, man, I've never been in one. I'd love to go for a ride. He goes, you want to go for a ride? Yeah, come on in. I go, oh, okay. So I grab my mic and I grab the cameras and I hook everything up. And I go, my wife and her family are hanging out at Inkwell Beach in Oak Bluffs. He goes, oh, let's go over there. So we went down to Inkwell Beach and we're doing snap rolls, barrel rolls, Edelmans. I mean, we're just screaming.
Is that the real name of that beach, the Inkwell?
Yeah.
That's what we used to call Houghton's Pond.
Well, it's always been Inkwell.
I didn't know that.
No, it's definitely it's legit. And so my phone starts blowing up. It's my wife and my daughter, and they're going, "You got to come to Inkwell Beach. There's this guy doing all this stuff." And I'm texting back. I'm going, "Oh yeah, where is he?" And he's right in front of Inkwell Beach. He's doing all these things. I said, "Is he wagging his wings?" And they go, "What do you mean? Is he doing this?" And does he do a barrel roll? Yeah. And she goes, "Get out of that plane." Oh, did I piss her off? She didn't like that. Anyway, what can I say? Well, listen, it's hey Max, have you been you've been flying the biplane? I'm like blocking. Have you been flying it at all? Yeah, that's it. Jeez, most uncommon biplane. I'm getting old. I can't remember. When was the last time you were in it?
A few months ago, I've been flying the Champ since we rebuilt it, but yeah, I got a lot of time in the pits recently.
Well, it's awesome that
you flew it more than a few months ago. You flew a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I flew a couple weeks ago.
That's definitely cool. I do aspire to get my aerobatic. We'll talk more about that when I turn this off. But hey, yeah, well, that's awesome. What are your plans for the rest of the summer? Going to do anything unique? Max of $1 million?
No, I'm just finishing up my my class at school right now, and I might work. But no, school starts in September, early September, so that's about it.
You go local? Or are you off somewhere in the other parts of the? No, you're Maritime.
Yep.
Yeah, Mass Maritime. That's awesome. Well, great.
We're heading down to Tennessee in 2 weeks to see the eclipse.
Ooh. Yeah, did you? There's the big GA thing. Lots of guys going down under the flight path. Do any of you guys remember 30 years ago the eclipse that happened? It came down around the southern New England.
I think I was working. I was working then.
Oh, I'll never forget. I'm in Oak Bluffs, and the eclipse happened, and it got really, really eerily dark, and that was pretty crazy. Up there goes the 172 taking more jumpers.
I think Greg's going to take the Cardinal, but he's been flying the Funk. We got an interesting plane. We got an old Funk that they've been.
Yeah, tell me about the Funk.
You know what? Greg's going to tell you because he knows more about it than anybody.
Take the mic.
Yeah, it's a 1949 Funk. It was the last one sold. The Funk brothers started in 1936, built about 350 Funks.
What's it known for? What's its characteristics? High wing, low wing?
It's a lot like an Aranca Chief. It's tube and fabric, high wing. The original Funks had a Ford Model B engine that was so highly modified that the Funk brothers had it certified as a Funk Model E. And then they went to the Lycoming 145 briefly, and then most of the Funks had the Continental C85. The one we have was STC'd back in the 50s for an 0235, so it's 100 horsepower Funk. It's quick, it's safe, they got a good safety record.
What's its useful load?
I couldn't say as much as we could. Two fat guys and 20 gallons of gas, yeah, easily. Anyhow, they went out of business in 1947, like so many aircraft companies did. There goes the jump plane.
They went out of business in 47, but you bought that. They bought it in 49.
The Funk brothers kept this one for themselves when they went out of business, and this guy wanted it so bad that every year he kept jacking up the price he was willing to offer them for it. In 1949, they agreed to sell it, and it had never been registered before that, so it was it's registered as a 49 Funk. Last one sold, something like the fourth from last one made. So it's got a little history behind it, and it's a hoot to fly. We have a flying club here at the field called Mostly Old Guys Aviation Society. There's about 8 of us, and people are starting to get checked out in the Funk, and it's a lot of fun. Very efficient. We're building a Sonics.
Yeah, I saw the Sonics when I came to visit last year. You've got a great clubhouse. You've got this really great large kitchen area, and right in the middle of the kitchen there's this big old fuselage sitting there, which is flipping awesome. And, I have been desperately trying to get a club going over on the vineyard. And it's just the year-rounders. We don't have that many folks that want to make that investment. We get quite a few folks in the summer, of course, but then not too much. But
I can't blame anybody for not wanting to build an airplane. You're talking about a huge commitment, a big part of your life.
Well, it is. It is. This is absolutely a religion. There's no two ways about it. You don't fly part-time. Nobody flies part-time. We are in the air part-time, but we live it and breathe it. I'm taking my commercial now. I've just continued going on with my education. And, hey, Rich, a little nod out to my friend Rich Champion with Jen Air. So hopefully I'll be able to get behind a twin-engine Baron not too long from now and fly it along. Hey,
no one's built more planes than Patrick in the last 2 years.
Well, we'll talk to you at another time. No, this is great. I'm staring. I'll post a picture about this. Is a phenomenal photograph right here. I got the Cub smack center, and then these 4 aircraft with their noses pointed out towards the hangar. So you got 5 of them sitting in here. This is quite a scene.
Go in here. See the lift? The Champ goes on the lift.
See the left? See the Champ goes on the left.
We've got one of everything.
What an ass. Really, that's awesome. So you've got, wait, that's Cardinal.
Yep, that's Greg.
And you've got the Citabria, the Pitts.
Yep.
You got a Sky Chief, Sky Ranger.
No, it's the 172, but it's a Super Hawk. We put a big
Super.
motor on it. It's a
Super.
180.
With the 180, and then the Cub here.
Cub's got a 90 horse, so that's a J3 with a 90 horse. Patrick, we just finished rebuilding that one too.
So that's juiced up.
Oh yeah, that thing goes like crazy.
I remember a photograph. I think in the Piper factory with them all lined up on their nose, stacked up. They used to be expendable, throwaway planes.
Yeah, I think they were. What were they? $1,500 or something. You could buy a Cub.
Yeah, imagine that. Well,
it's the least amount of plane for the most amount of money right now.
It flipped over, didn't it?
Yeah,
It's absolutely upside down. The least amount of plane for the most amount of money. Yeah.
That's a quote from Mike DuPont.
Oh,
by the
okay.
way. I stole that from him.
Nod to Mike.
American Aero Services.
I like that. Well, I just hope that you guys out there find a group of people who are as passionate as these guys. And I've been wanting to come out here for flipping ever, and it's amazing I was able to steal the day today. But I'll be making my way back out here and hopefully bringing friends with me. I got two other people taking lessons who just started on the island, and other people from the ER. So I've gotten to know them.
Did you plug our fly-in breakfast?
I want you to take the mic and give it a major go.
Every third Sunday here at Cranland from 8 to 10 in the morning, we have a fly-in breakfast. It's a great breakfast. A lot of airplanes coming in. A lot of locals come to see the airplanes come and go. Some antique cars, some antique motorcycles, maybe occasionally some other stuff. Drop in. It's a good time.
So when in the year, what month, when do you stop, when do you end this? Go ahead.
I believe it's May through October. So the last, April through October. The last one will be this October. So you've got a couple months left to come see us.
Oh, now that you're making me feel really good, because I've been like, well, my plane got laid up, my schedule got weirded out, and I couldn't come out here. And you guys are just tons of fun. I really appreciate the fact that you just love talking about it. It's so weird because I have a hard time where my guys are.
Well, we want to spread the whole aviation thing. It's better for all of us. The more people that take interest and get interested, it's better for everybody.
Hallelujah, brother. And that's why I got involved with the IMC Club. By the way, IMC Club is now also the VMC Club, which is for guys that do not fly in the clouds. Right. And I turned to Radek Vizkovsky and I complained to him. I said, you got all this stuff going for all of you guys in the clouds, but I don't fly in the clouds. And we need to be proficient too. So I gave him some scenarios. As a matter of fact, at Oshkosh this year, during the pilot proficiency program, Radek had 250 people in one of the biggest hangars and was doing this whole big scenario. And during the IMC club scenarios, what they do is they talk about this particular situation. You're at this altitude direction, this kind of weather, and all of a sudden this happens. What would you do? And that starts the conversation with different aircraft and experience in avionics. And of the 3 scenarios, one was the guy's flying into Block Island, and all of a sudden he realizes he doesn't have his landing gear. What would you do? So he emulated and used my experience in one of those scenarios. But when I walked up and said hi to these guys, and we briefly talked about what happened to me, the satanic mechanic here on my right said, "Yeah, this airplane here, same thing happened." What happened to him?
One of the links came out of the scissors that hold the one of the main gear in, or this one's the left gear specifically, and when he rotated, the pressure in the shock just blew the landing gear right out.
There's supposed to be a stop ring, something to keep it from hyperextending. That didn't work too well for him, did it?
No, on these Warriors it isn't. It's just the link that keeps it from.
The scissor jack, the lack. And was it the castellated nut, the bolt, or the lack of Carter pin, or we don't have boots on our planes, so normally when you got boots on, you don't see that stuff anyway.
The bolt broke. In our case, we found all the pieces on the runway. The bolt.
Really?
Yeah, bolt. But the landing gear stayed attached, banging off the side of the airplane from the brake hose.
And this happened to a really experienced pilot who had flown for thousands. No, he was a
16 years old. He's Mike DuPont's son, Alex.
All right, all you folks, do you want to shit your pants? You're 16 years old. How many hours did he?
Flying well, he's been flying since he's a baby, with his dad, but still, But still.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, but still.
He called his dad on the cell phone and said, "Dad, I think I have a problem."
Yeah, there's your problem. And what did Dad say?
He said, "What's the problem?" He said, "I can look at my landing gear. It's banging against the side of the airplane, the wheel and everything." So,
and Dad said?
He said, "Well, let's take a look." And he did a low pass and down at Taunton and said, "Yep, there it is."
And what do you do when you lose your gear?
Well, the only thing you can't do, you land it, and you land it really slow, and you keep that wing up to the last minute, and he did a beautiful job and had almost no damage, and we just stuck the landing gear back in and, painted up the tip of the elevator and see you later.
Yeah, good for him. And people ask me, what do you do? I go, I park it up there and I wait for them to get me new. No, you land the plane.
Call AAA.
It'll take 2 hours. Well, but the thing is, and I didn't know. At least he knew. He knew, so he was able to call his dad. I had no idea. It was like double the wind of today. It was gusty as hell.
Oh, you never knew the gear wasn't there until you touched down?
Roger that.
That's probably the best way to do it.
And I absolutely agree. I was sitting right seat. My buddy Joe was sitting left. We turned base to final, and just as we got over final, there's a 72 on the hold short. Says to tower, "Hey, you ever find the guy who lost that gear?" That literally is what happened. Joe turns to me and went, "Oh, expletive. Off, everything off. And he snaps everything off, and I leaned it out. The engine stopped. We only rolled 50 feet because I thought we had a flat. Because we tried to, when I do touch and goes for practice with people, I just do the little pop and go. No real weight on it, just touch it and off you go again. So I went to containment the first pass. As I laid it down, it yawed a little bit to the right, but I thought it was a gust. So we went around again. I said, well, that was weird. That was pretty gusty because containment, you got the beach, the water, and then all the trees. So you get lots of rocking and rolling. This is on 2-4 now, mind you. It comes over the farm, not over 2-1, which is much worse. The second time, I picked the same spot, came down, and as we came down, there was another gust. But this time was like, wait a minute, the gust in the yaw to the right. I know what it is. I got a flat. It happened to me when I first started flying that plane 7 years ago. Identical thing. Starboard wheel was flat, yawed to the right. We're going to go to the big airport. We're going to put it down. It's going to be the world's shortest landing. I'll sacrifice the rubber, but I don't want to mess up the wheel. So we're going to land at Bravo, right? Turn right off at Charlie, go right into the tie downs. So as I came down and that guy said, "Hey, have you found that guy?" We didn't have time to react because the plane leveled off and then it continued to go down. And I went off, and everything went off. We only went somewhere around 50 feet, the scratch on the asphalt, and then the post got a little gription and turned to the right, went into the safety. We knocked out a runway border light.
How long did you screw the airport up for?
30 minutes.
Nice.
30 minutes. The West Tisbury heard the activity, and the ground crew said, "Hey, bring the bags." And they came over with the airbags, lifted the wing up, put a little hand truck under it, and pulled it out. And I did hit the starboard, the port wing, where the runway border light was, and it put a dent in it. So I replaced the Horton leading edge, and we fixed that up. Of course, the gear, so we had to get replacement, all that stuff. But
the aluminum casting, that substantial casting that the gear fits into, did you replace that?
all of that.
A lot of bolts in that. That's
Yeah.
a pain in the neck.
Well, yeah, my mechanic, Dan, God bless you, Dan, he did a great job.
Used parts, hopefully? All used stuff from Wentworth or something?
Insurance paid for everything.
Oh, okay, new. New.
Brand spanking.
All right.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Do you know what? If you had to guess which airplane out of this whole array that you're looking at has the worst damage history of any plane you've ever heard of in your whole life?
Well, it's got to be the best looking. And it's probably be this Cub.
Nope, the Pitts.
Really?
Worst damage history I've ever heard of in my life.
But it's so tiny. What kind of damage can you do to it?
When it was 5 hours old, it killed the first guy that bought it.
That sucks.
Yeah, he had 3 hours on it, picked it up at the factory.
Did he have any time in the pits prior to that?
I don't know. We don't
details?
No, we don't have details on the guy. We just know the nature of the accident. He picked it up at the factory, flew it 2 hours to Idaho, tried to land on a road, got caught up in the wires. I don't know if he was running low on gas or got lost.
I'm so sorry. You know, it's like you win an airplane in a card game in Alaska. You know those stories.
Sure.
The drunks, they win the airplane and they take it home.
Yeah, no, this guy, he wasn't going home. But somebody rebuilt it, must have done like a data tag overhaul on it, replaced the fuselage, replaced the landing gear, the wings, did the engine over, everything. And then a couple years, but it doesn't end there. It got sold to some dentist.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, no, it got sold to some dentist in Bellevue, Illinois, who landed it on top of a mall, not a shopping mall, an airplane mall, on the runway. So it ended up upside down on another runway. They rebuilt it again, and then I've got probably 3 or 4 more entries of that plane going off the runway with prop strikes and ground loops. And I've got an entry where they did an engine tear down, from a prop strike. 1 hour later, same thing.
There are a lot of people scratching their heads saying, "Why keep the frickin' airplane?"
Because it wasn't the airplane. None of it was the airplane's fault. Like most times, it's not the airplane's fault.
We've had it for 5 years, and it hasn't given us an ounce of trouble.
Of course, and that's my point. It's the pilot. You keep the aircraft in good stead. You do your annuals, you do good inspections. And people, they tried to get on my case about the strut, and I was like, now really. Now, with your aircraft, with the boots on and all that, how often do you check the brakes? How often do you check the castellated nuts? During annual. It's the purpose of the annual. We, in these aircraft, happen to take them off, but that's just because we like to land in grass fields, right?
Yeah, well, ours, we have a little bit of an excuse when the one that we had, the Warrior that we had, lost the landing gear because the plane was almost brand new to us. We had just bought it. So, we didn't own it for a couple of months. We really didn't go right through it like we usually do. So we did go right through it, obviously. But, that's usually we're on top of all our stuff. We're all mechanics.
Now, guys, you have to picture this place. There's a place for everything and everything in its place. Literally the only thing out of place is the handheld, the electric screwdriver. This is this is not a new endeavor. And it's awesome because it shows that you guys pay attention, and that's the important thing. Actually, my wife got all pissed off. She dropped me off at the hangar today.
That's nothing new, right?
Jenny, but I opened the hangar door. She goes, "Oh, look at this." I go, "Why doesn't our basement look like this?" I mean, yeah, all my tools are up on the wall. Everything is, everything's where it should be. And, I told her, no, we're starting. We're starting with that. So did we have more in the sky?
Every 18 minutes, there's going to be 4 people falling from the sky.
Oh, yeah, here, there. Look at them falling. Look at that.
There they are. The girls are always louder than the boys.
Look, they flew right into the entrance of the, right into the kitchen. I don't know if you could hear her. She was hooting and hollering. She loving that.
Where's the other one? The other one's usually about 45 seconds behind them.
It's funny. No sooner did I say where are they, and then one flew right over. That's. Oh, here's the other one. Here we hear some screaming.
I'll tell you what. You know what? We've all pretty much jumped over here. And it's a pretty good bang for the buck. For $200 to get your heart pumping like that, that's a really, really worthwhile thing. It's a real worthwhile.
Here they come. Look at it. Her legs are up. His toes are down. Nothing to it.
A lot of college kids coming here to jump. It's like they're looking for some excitement or something really, noteworthy to do with their summer, and they come down, and a lot of them jump from it.
Bucket list, baby. My son did it.
Yeah, it's a worthwhile thing.
Only reason why I'm not doing it is I'm too fat.
I don't know, Howie. I think they can. If you're under 270, I think you're all set.
Oh, really? Let's see. We'll ask them. Under 270. That's what he says. Yeah, that's okay. They give me something to work for. I've been losing weight. It's been okay. Things are working better. I know you wouldn't know. You haven't seen me for a year. I went up. I went down. It doesn't matter. But, just a wonderful day here, and I really appreciate the time you took. We're running out of our allotted time, but anybody, any shout-outs you want to say hi to anybody?
Nah, we don't have any friends.
Go ahead, Max.
Hi, Mom.
There you go. Hi, Mom. Hey, hi, nice to meet you. Have we met before? I don't think so. Hi, I'm Howie. Nice to meet you. Do you fly?
No,
Why not?
because there's no room for me.
Oh, got 3 boys. Oh, okay. Well, all right. It's time for a travel air or something like that. Well, it was nice to meet you. Well, again, everybody, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. It's, I kind of don't get a chance to do this enough. And if you guys get a chance to go down to your local airport, it's worth it. It's worth it. And bring somebody over the fence. Bring somebody who's never been. Bring somebody who's afraid. Bring somebody who's excited. Just bring them on in and give them a go. You never really know. And I truly hope that you spend many days with the wind in your face and the wind to your back and the sun in your face. Well, all right, that's all for now. This is Max Gross signing out. All right, see you next time.
IMC Radio. The views and opinions expressed on Plain Talk are of the host, its guests, and callers. They do not necessarily reflect the views of the IMC Club or IMC Club International.
Well, that was a lot of fun. And thank you all very much for your patience as you've been, waiting around to hear more from us. And we'll be checking in with you soon. And one of the things I have to say is, all my best to everybody who's recovering from the hurricanes and the fires and the floods. And it's just awful. But may the sun be in your face and the wind on your ass. And Howie out. See you next time.
Come up here one day. You'd enjoy it. You'd enjoy the show. Quarter land, 63 right. Thank you very much.